Lords, my thanks also to the noble Lord Alton for initiating this important debate and for the vast amount of work he does in this field. All too often, debates and questions in this House describe the appalling treatment of religious minorities across the world. Unfortunately, the response from government is, in my view, far from even-handed. The world, it seems, is still seen in terms of friendly countries to be spoken to quietly, if at all, and the characterization of those who are not dependent on us for trade or strategic influence as nasty regimes to be condemned in the most strident terms. Let me give an example. In 2014, the government described the human rights record of the Sri Lankan government as appalling and called for an international inquiry. I asked if the government would press for a similar inquiry into the government-led massacre of thousands of Sikhs in India. The short, sharp response, "That is a matter for the Indian government." Why the lack of even-handedness? I've asked the same question both in the chamber and in written questions, several times, always to no effect. On the last occasion, some 6 months back, I was promised a considered reply from the minister. I'm still waiting. In France today, Sikhs are being humiliated by being asked to remove their turbans for identity photos in defiance of a UNHR court ruling that the French government's action was an infringement of the rights of Sikhs under Article 18. No mention of this in our government's recent report on human rights abuse across the world. France, after all, is a friendly country. These examples of religious discrimination are especially hurtful to the followers of a religion in which freedom of belief is considered so important that our ninth Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, gave his life defending the right of Hindus, those of a different religion to his own, to freedom of worship. My lords, what concerns me and others is that we, like other members of what we euphemistically call the Security Council, are still living in the world of the 19th century power politics, a world of strategic alliances in which the abuse of human rights was conveniently overlooked in greed-fueled strategic alliances. My lords, if there are any doubts about the failure of our power bloc politics, we should reflect on the current tragedy of the Middle East, which began a century ago with the carving up of the former Ottoman Empire by British and French diplomats. A Christian hymn reminds us, "New occasions teach new duties. Time makes ancient good uncouth. They must upward still and onward who would keep abreast with truth." The great human rights activist Andrei Sakharov said, "There will never be peace in the world unless we are even-handed in the condemnation of human rights abuse. We will fail future generations if we do not heed his far-seeing words."